Brent and Chris talk here.
Brent, I'm Chris. Yes, welcome,
Brent.
one and all. And if you
Sorry,
are
I should
new,
let you introduce yourself.
That's all right. That's all right. You know me. If you're new to Brent and Chris talk, welcome. We've been growing in numbers, and we welcome you with open arms and open minds.
That's right.
I could say open hearts, but then I'd probably be plagiarizing the United Methodist Church slogan.
Yeah, you don't want to do
Open
that.
hearts,
We
open
don't
minds,
want any
open
copyright
doors.
infringement or trademarks because I hear YouTube and other sources of our podcast will kill us.
Accurate.
So we don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we welcome all content, especially comments, guys. Like, please let us know what you're thinking about what we're talking about and what else you want to hear about. We always say that at the end of the podcast, but I think it's important to say it at the beginning too, to remind folks that, hey, we're here for dialogue as well.
Yeah. That being said, I would encourage everyone, if you comment, please throw your sources out there. We try to always include all of our sources at the end of all of our episodes, so you know where our information comes from.
I would say definitely, yeah. We've got to make sure that it's something that has a basis somewhere. Right?
We're raising the bar for debate.
How do we, it's more taking it from opinion to I'm basing that opinion on something. And the fact that if we don't, then we are challenged with, okay, well, then you're just off on your own on that. And it's fine. If you want to just sit there and rest on your laurels, then you can. But at the end of the day, the rest of us, I'd say the majority of folks don't want to not have something to base their facts on. So,
agreed.
Statements on. So,
how was your week?
It was a whirlwind of a week.
Yeah.
One of those weeks where it starts off great, and then Tuesday rolls around, it's not as good as Monday, and you're like, man, I had a good Monday. How the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday are okay. Friday's great, and then Saturday's like, had some sickness in the family, so we're trying to get over that, and just a lot of things going on right now. But I think at the end of the day, the good thing is kids are happy and healthy. And
yeah, you went to an orchard?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Had a great time.
That's a big thing around here.
Yep, for sure.
A few options.
Yep, we went out to, I believe it's called Christ's Orchard.
Okay.
Out in Elmwood. Really good place. I'd love to give a shout out to them. Definitely go out and check them out. It's not too far. Basically, just if you're heading out of Peoria, take the Kickapoo exit and head out past the Peoria landfill, and they're about maybe 5 or 6 miles from there. So it's a really short hop for us, and they have a wide array of apples and cider, jam, like pretty much everything you'd want out of an orchard. And the cool thing for us was the kids. We're walking in, and the farmer there was like, "Hey, be sure to grab some apples and sample them while you're walking through, and save the cores, that way you can give them to the pigs and the turkeys and the alpaca that we have, because they like to munch on those things too." So
alpaca,
super nice people. I couldn't say enough about that for sure. But a great place, tons of variety. We walked around there for 2 hours, and the kids they didn't want to leave. It was incredible. So I think Eleanor's high point was the pigs eating the apples. And then Warren liked when we went and picked pumpkins. I got a couple of pumpkins to carve for, jack-o'-lanterns. And Courtney told me, my wife, told me that we should get the biggest pumpkin I can carry. So I found a pumpkin literally like Chris sized, and I picked your ass up out of there, and I hauled you home.
And I'm going to get carved.
Yep. No, you're going to be decoration.
Okay.
So you're over by the mums.
Yes.
You're just a monstrous thing for people to look at and
Something
gaze at and admire. So yeah, that was my week. How was yours?
Just like my real life. No, my week was fun. Chell had a long week prior week, so this week she had a week off, and I started school. I'm taking some fun classes, learning to write advertising music.
Wow.
Learning to master the art of vocal production.
Look out, guys. If you need a jingle or something to promote your business, here's your guy right here.
It's the best I got. That was my elevator dance.
Yeah.
People often talk about the elevator speech.
Okay.
No one talks about the elevator dance.
That's something, especially in entertainment. Say you're standing next to someone in the fine art of dancing, and you want to impress them, and you're going to do the foxtrot out of the elevator just to show them that you can do it. And you probably need a partner, so you're going to grab that person and just jump on out. But hey, That's how you.
Foxtrot. That was a good,
Yeah.
good callback.
Oh
too.
man, I have danced the waltz.
Mhm.
I've danced the rumba, the cha cha.
Two-step.
I honestly don't know.
It's not much
so
different.
yeah, we did some dance lessons, and you guys saw the rumba at our wedding. That was fun.
Very good.
But yeah, I'm a huge fan of dancing. It's a good time to get out and enjoy yourself with your spouse and have a good time.
Yeah, so I was made to take tap and jazz lessons as a kid.
Me too.
Yeah.
And tumbling.
And yeah, tumbling didn't last long for me. I think I failed out about the headstands.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh man,
just didn't make it past
I
that.
love that backflips and
Never did any of that.
cartwheels.
Never. I
Oh,
did
man.
cartwheels.
Yeah,
I don't. Maybe
you're a
we did
nimbly
round
bimbly
offs.
kind of guy. You could do it, I'm sure.
No, I'm not nimble at all.
No,
No.
I don't doubt you.
Well, you should. There.
So it'll take you on my next climbing expedition.
Yeah, right. So my parents stick me in this tap and jazz, and small town, right? And me, one other kid, the other kid does ballet, cares about it, and is good at it. And then there's me, who has no coordination whatsoever. And then later, I think it was literally the first time I brought Chelsea to Thanksgiving. They tell her, yeah, we made Chris do dance lessons. He was just so uncoordinated. So, thanks,
Now
guys.
that's how you sell yourself. How you sell your child to their
Cheers.
prospective
Yeah.
future spouse. So, my gosh.
Yep.
I'm sure my parents sold me short too somewhere down the line. So hey, that's par for the course.
That's what parents do.
You just take it, and she probably found it endearing.
I hope so. I hope so.
You're so uncoordinated. I love you.
Yeah. Yeah, basically.
Nice.
Can't
Cool.
even do a headstand.
Yeah, man. So you're back at school, rocking away.
Back, yes. And so this weekend we got to go down to St. Louis. It was,
Say away.
yep, my mom and dad took us down there for a little family vacay. And we did the St. Louis Zoo.
Oh man, I love that place. I seriously highly recommend it. Free.
Harrison was totally on board for the zoo.
What all did you guys see?
I think the coolest thing he saw was the hippos.
Oh yeah,
They have that underwater
Yep.
part where you can actually see them swimming.
diving in.
Great videos.
Huge,
of that.
aren't they?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And Harry, I feel like he was just like so excited to interact with everybody there.
Oh yeah.
And we did a carousel ride, which was fun. Evelyn got a big kick out of it, but then we went to the Magic House,
Oh,
which I
man.
believe is in Kirkland,
Yep.
Missouri.
Been there forever. I went there as a kid.
It is huge now, dude.
Yeah?
It is. They've expanded
Okay.
so much.
Awesome.
It's like massive.
Yeah.
And Evelyn got the biggest kick out of that place. I mean, the first floor was a little hit or miss because it was geared for older kids. Evelyn's just year and a half ish, and but then we got up to the second floor. There were like little villages designed for kids. There was like little restaurants that had kitchen areas in a market, so the
Dude.
kids could. I mean, it was just
That's
so
nuts.
much fun.
Yeah, there was nothing like that when I was a kid.
No, it was huge. It
Wow.
was huge. They had a cool window setup that was Goodnight Moon, which I read that to my son and daughter every night. That's my book currently that I read to them.
Okay.
So I have like it memorized, and they have like the windows that are like you can look inside, and it was the room with all the cow jumping over the moon,
Okay.
2 kittens, 2 mittens, bowl of mush.
So it fit right in for you guys.
It was cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, Harrison was
Good deal.
not feeling as good the next day. He was ready to get home.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, still, even not feeling good, he was really still enamored with the place.
Hard not to like that when you're a kid. I mean,
Yeah,
just everything about it.
we did the what is it? Is it a Van de Graaff machine? Stick your hand on it, stick your hair up.
I honestly don't know, but yeah, that
We did
sounds
that
right.
thing. You put your hand.
So if you're out
on
there
it.
and you're listening, be sure to correct us.
Yeah, please. Yeah, so that was my week, and so we pushed recording again this week. We're all off.
Yeah,
Continually
it's
dealing
just
with
life. You guys know how it is. So we're here for you. We're going to keep going every day as much as possible. Get back on it Friday this coming week, God willing.
Yeah, right. God willing. Announce your plans to the world. It's a good way to hear God laugh, though. So.
I can hear him up there. Oh, or higher pitch if it's a woman.
You
I'm cool either way.
Friday?
She's probably like, yeah, I am a woman.
Mhm.
Shut your mouth.
Hopefully with a British accent.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
That'd be nice.
Love me a British accent.
So, this week's topic.
Oh, man.
With the most pointless segue.
Yeah, right? No, it's all good. We should dive right in because this is a topic that I have been curious about for a long time, did not know a ton about. I'd say still don't know a ton about because it's so complex.
Yeah, I
Like
was
if you
skeptical when you put it out there, and then like the first video I read or watched on it, excuse me, I was like, this is cool.
Yeah,
Like this is
it's so much and like we're not going to get into the nitty-gritty. We can't because if we did, this would be a probably 3 day long not only commentary but also hard fact, you know, read through. I mean, I think the FEC, the Federal Election Commission's law book that is on their website, is like 256 pages long.
yeah. I condensed it down to the top 10
Yeah,
laws you need
highlights,
to know.
highlights.
Yeah, laws.
Well, highlights of those laws. Yeah,
correct.
super important.
Top 10.
It's a lot.
We're trying to maybe not do like a mental health thing with like 600 years of history crammed in.
Yeah, we don't want to do that on this one.
No.
There's not 600 years to talk about in this regard.
Surprisingly, you know, that's the interesting thing. There's surprisingly little in regards of actual law or legislation. I mean, there's a substantial amount, don't get me wrong,
When
but
you go back,
yeah, when you go back, there's these big gaps. I mean, if you look
Yeah.
at
oh man, way
Andrew
back.
Johnson,
You mean
Andrew
Jackson?
sorry,
Yep.
gosh,
Yep, for
Flash
sure.
show, mix up. He
Good show,
had
though.
some weird things going on during that time. It wasn't like normal for your staff to be the ones expected to help
Yeah.
fund your campaign.
Your staff's like throwing in because we want to get reelected, guys.
I need to keep
So,
my job.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing I think is interesting is like throughout this history, whenever we do something to fix something, something else bad happens.
Oh yeah.
A new evil,
Unintended
a new...
consequences is a common theme when you're talking about election law.
Right.
You know, it's kind of unfortunate too because this democracy was founded, you know, with the intent of providing the everyday man
Yeah.
and woman and, you know, everybody of legal age to provide their, you know, input in the election.
Yeah.
Right? You get to vote. That's your choice. That's your right as an American to vote. And with that being said, I think it's interesting, you know, as there's been evolutions through our society, right? We've grown and prospered. Influence has changed. I mean, we're not the colonies, the 13 colonies that we were when the nation was founded.
Right.
And so, as time has changed, you know, there have been factions and families and corporations, all kinds
Unions.
of entities. Yes, unions, absolutely. Labor's played a massive role in the future. Jiminy's
Jiminy,
back.
welcome.
Dude, we missed you. Not really.
Well, I don't know.
No, not really. We would take you out if we could.
I've tried
So,
several attempts.
yeah. And so, basically, you know, my point there is, as the nation has evolved, the complexity of not only law, but also those that are working to follow the law
Yeah.
and exploit it for their own interests has just grown.
Yeah.
I mean, think about how much money is spent. I can't remember the billions.
I want to say it was the average successful campaign congressional run in 2014 was it was ridiculous. All of them were near $1 billion. Or no, I'm sorry, $100 million.
Right.
Yes.
So I'm talking totals. I was
Yes.
reading something
Yeah,
like
you're right.
1.5 billion. I don't
Presidential
quote me on that one,
campaigns.
but just massive.
Presidential campaigns with Trump and Hillary reached $1 billion. It was
It's just ridiculous the amount of money flowing through these campaigns. Influence, right? It's what they're after. They just want to make sure that they want to make sure that the messages that are key to their campaigns and their outreach are what makes it through.
yes, and feels like we've gone backwards more recently. But before we dive in, let's hit some big words. Not really. Let's just go with
We need to paint a picture.
yeah, and get
without
you
painting it.
used to the
We're gonna get a
vernacular.
whiteboard, guys, so we can draw this stuff and like Chris can laser pointer and talk through it. We're not there yet, so he's gonna paint a visual picture for you and talk through some of how this works.
So in campaign finance, we need to understand the players, and the players are going to be the candidate, the person running, the
Yep.
party they're affiliated with.
Yep.
So either the DNC or RNC, the two big players in America.
Yep.
We also are going to need to understand what PACs are, political action committees.
Types of PACs.
Then there are, of course, our corporations, or labor unions.
Yep.
And then there are us, the individuals. The other thing we need to address is soft money and hard money.
Right.
So hard money, to put it simply, is money directly given to the candidate.
Right. Directly affiliated with the campaign, and it'd be like, today in our current campaign cycle, Biden, Warren, Sanders, Buttigieg, all these folks are talking about, I need a certain campaign contribution of X amount of dollars by certain date for various reasons. But the point is, they're wanting monies from the individual contributors, in this case, to qualify for primary elections.
But, and I've read a few different places, but I believe the limit is $5,000.
Something like that. I mean, for just an individual contribution?
Anybody, I believe.
Yeah, individual
so directly to the candidate.
Yeah.
So,
that's about right. Yep, that's correct.
Okay. Now, the other thing to talk about, though, is soft money. And this is money that is used by maybe the DNC or the RNC for what's called party building. They're also allowed to use soft money and party building, but that would be like increasing voter turnout.
Right. So gaining more people for the Republican Party, for example. Right. We want more people to contribute to. We want more people to join the Republican Party,
and
then they can become part of that machine.
And we need to want them to turn out.
Correct. So, turn out for those candidates, present our cause, win them over, and then they're now voting Republican, and will vote, hopefully across the ticket, Republican. So
the other thing we need to talk about then is the independent expenditure PACs.
Okay.
Why anybody calls them that, I do not know.
Well, they're supposed to be independent, right?
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. But basically...
No direct party affiliation.
Right? But neither are PACs.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So, but these are called super PACs. That's what we all know them as.
Well, there are regular ones, but there's also super PACs.
Yep, we have, yes. And
today, super PACs are what predominate.
Yeah, yes, they do. And we'll discuss that. But there's no limits to super PACs. They're allowed, there's some rules. When do we do the rules? We'll get into the rules later. Yeah. The differences between the PACs. So those are the words. That's the vernacular we're going to be dealing with. And I think we can pretty much dive in. Just since, like Brent said, super PACs are the main thing we kind of have to deal with today.
Yep.
Just a couple statistics on there. Love my stats.
Yeah.
69% of Americans say that super PACs should be illegal. That's according to the Washington Post from March 2012. Now, here's another fun one about super PACs.
Believe that.
68% of super PAC funds come from just 216 donors.
I totally believe that, too. I mean, you hear about this kind of like in the fray of the news about...
Or just listen to Bernie.
A small... I definitely... Yeah, he does talk about it quite a bit. I'm just saying, like, if you're listening and reading the news, that's where you're getting little tidbits about, it's a small number of donors.
Yeah.
I believe that 100%. Think about how many billionaires and millionaires there are out there.
Think about how many friends you have on Facebook.
Yeah.
And, it's going to probably be more than 216.
Hopefully.
And they have so much political sway. I mean, they're argued that they don't, but I think we all know that's not true.
Well, the fact is, the sway is with them in that their vote is what dictates the outcome. But the lack of, the fact that 216 people or organizations, whatever, can contribute almost 70% of the funds going to super PACs, which are the predominant players when it comes to the campaign machine, right? They're funneling the majority of the money in that allow these candidates to get marketing out there, to allow them to function.
Yeah, in political advertising. I think that's be the fairest.
That's what drives it, right? Yeah. And if you're won over by advertising, we're all victims of, I call it victims of advertising, right? I see Domino's on TV, I'm like, man, I want to order me up a pizza.
Oh, buddy, that's not being a victim.
I'm just saying.
That's winning.
Well, it is winning for us.
Yes.
But you're victims in other things. Your kids, when you put cartoons on, what happens, especially like on demand, if you have Comcast or Netflix, any of them, there's a little cartoon that'll play, and all of a sudden, boop, bring on Barbie doll or whatever the hell else thing.
Oh, I know. Harrison's getting to the point where he doesn't want to skip those.
Right. Yeah. And cartoons also, it's very under the radar, I think. Maybe not. Maybe all you guys are smarter than me. You too.
What do you got?
Disney and them will say, tune into this.
Yeah.
Make sure you watch this. Like, they use the words that kids know.
Buzzwords.
It's super simple, like command.
Yeah, action. Call to action.
And to parents, it's like super, I don't know. I feel like when you're off making dinner or you're cleaning up or doing whatever, and they're just watching a little bit of TV, you're not tuning into that. Like, sometimes I watch and I catch those. I'm like, man, that's more powerful than I think most of us give it credit. Like,
Sure.
I still let it happen, all the time.
Right.
But I feel like at the end of the day, it's just part of that, it grabs you. So that's what we're getting at here. Marketing is probably the most influential thing, especially with the words that are used to portray it. Even surveys I get on YouTube when I'm watching videos, especially from the Trump administration, asking me to support.
Hey, Jiminy.
Yep. Wish I had my freaking...
I know.
I have a fly gun off Amazon. Order that if you don't, because it shoots salt and it will kill every fly in sight. You'll become Rambo of flies.
The bug of salt.
Yep.
That's not you.
No, he's not making that noise.
We should still take him out.
Somebody else.
Yep.
It's happening.
Oh, he moved.
Ninja.
That was crazy.
He's probably going to sting me now. Bastard.
I don't think crickets do that.
Maybe not.
I think you're safe.
He'll find a way. Take my knife off my side and stab me with it.
I think Jiminy got the message too, though.
Yeah.
Silence.
You know what, Jiminy? We heard enough of you.
Yeah.
You're done.
I know.
So.
These crickets. Sorry.
You going to talk about a bit of the history?
Yeah, let's dive in.
We need a foundation here. So where did this all come from?
Well,
He's back.
A lot of this starts with when McKinley gets assassinated.
Yep.
And Teddy Roosevelt takes over.
TR, yep.
Good old TR. He's the first guy in 1905 to put forth this idea that we should have some kind of campaign finance.
Yep.
Because in that time, past the whole spoils, having your team vote for you in.
Yep. Pay for you to be supported. Yep.
Yeah, the tactic at the time was to threaten corporations and say, if you don't give us some money, we might, pass some legislation. Yeah, exactly.
Give me some freaking money, or your legislation is going to be going for your competitor.
So it's called the Tillman Act of 1907. It's the first time the U.S. passed legislation dealing with campaign finance, making contributions to a national political campaigns.
Yep.
So it literally made contributions from corporations illegal.
Right. Kind of the start of limiting influence.
Like, how did we get it right in 1907? In 1905, he talks about it in his State of the Union. 1906, he puts it forth again, and it's the Senator Benjamin Tillman of South Carolina, and he's the guy that sponsors it.
Yep.
Now, it had loopholes out the wazoo, and that's going to be the story of campaign laws, finance, throughout this whole thing.
It's constant.
It didn't apply to primaries, and corporations would circumvent this by asking their execs or their people to donate.
Yep.
And then they would give them bonuses at the end of the year to compensate.
Exactly.
So, again, it was a good idea, but there was nothing in place to actually enforce this.
Yeah.
And we're not going to have anything for a while.
Right.
So, 1910, we get the Federal Corruption Practices Act. And this is where we get the campaign spending limits. Where we get public disclosure of financial spending comes from this. 1939, we get the Hatch Act, which prevents employees in the executive branch from engaging in political activities.
Yeah, that's like a milestone.
And it's something that Kellyanne Conway got
reprimanded.
Well, yeah. Well, no, she didn't. I mean, you got called out. I guess you could
called
say
out.
reprimand. Yeah, they thought she should be fired.
Correct. There was a recommendation. Correct.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. Reprimanded in the sense that it was recommended by an official government organization that she should be removed from her position.
And we all agree here.
Yeah, we do. She's a hack.
Yeah.
Her husband's a hack too, but less crazy than her.
I know. I like that they differ.
Yeah, isn't that like a true husband and wife dynamic? Like, they're both just, I don't know how the hell they got in together.
So, after 1939,
after Hatch,
we have the Taft-Hartley Act.
Oh, man. Shout out to Ted.
Shout out. Yeah, I talked to him doing the show, and it doesn't think we're related at all, but
Who cares?
This guy was from New Jersey. So Taft-Hartley Act of 1947. This was amidst the communist scare that we kind of talked about leading up to McCarthyism.
Yep.
Check out McCarthyism, one of our previous shows. That was tribalism.
Oh man, that's a whole other thing. But yeah,
show.
check it out.
So the fear of communism was pretty big in America, and the fear was that communists were infiltrating unions.
Yep.
And because unions could still donate, whereas corporations couldn't,
Right.
it gave
Influence.
an unfair
The
advantage
communists
to
are after
the
us through
union.
the unions.
So this capped campaign contributions by unions. It actually limited them in the Taft-Hartley Act.
Okay.
Now we get to the Federal Election Campaign Act of 1971. Everyone mark your calendars, right? Celebrate it. It was enacted in 72. This focused on increased disclosure of contributions for the federal campaigns. In 74, it was amended to place legal limits on campaign contributions and expenditures. It also created the FEC, which is finally something to enforce all these good rules that people have tried to enact since 1907. It was the first federal, I would call it, regulatory body.
Wow.
That monitored the campaign, monitored campaign
Isn't that amazing?
spending and disclosure. Took a long time. That's 1972.
Like to actually have oversight.
Right. And it's, I don't know, scary.
Just amazing.
So this gets amended quite a few times. Couple highlights. 1976, the FEC would allow unlimited hard money on increasing voter turnout and registration. Is it me or is he being exceptionally loud?
Yeah, he's pissed.
Yeah, he's mad. The death swat did not work, and now he's angered.
Yep.
So, 1979, the FEC rules that political parties could spend unregulated soft money on party-building activities, and this later turns into ads for candidates, ads for candidate-related issues.
Yep.
So, then we don't really have much till 1991. McCain tries to put forth this Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act, and it goes nowhere. And then in 2002, during 2000, he pushed a lot for campaign finance stuff. There was some Enron scandals and stuff that occurred. So
it's good. I think John McCain did a lot for us there, like a service to America to try to put in place some more oversight.
And it's called the McCain-Feingold Act. It was enacted in 2002.
That's what we were talking about earlier that I got confused on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes. And this did a lot. It amended the Federal Election Campaign Act of 71. It decreased the role of soft money. It's where the whole I, Chris Tapp, approve this message. It's where that came from. It really tried to put limits on soft money, where people would have to disclose where the money was going, disclose where the money was coming from, and tried to put some caps on things. The other thing it did, and this is important to note, it limited PACs, and I believe super PACs, moreover, from running those candidate-affiliated ads.
Directly.
It was 30 days before a general and 60 days before primary.
Yep. That's what I read too.
And this is where we have a couple problems occur. Michael Moore. I know. I was so surprised to see his name come with this. I know. But he actually plays a role in this.
I'm not a massive fan, I'll be honest.
I honestly like him. I like his movies.
There's nothing wrong with him.
Yeah.
I
don't necessarily care for him.
I know. I feel like he's a crusader. I don't know.
I respect that.
There's nothing wrong with that per se, but you know how I feel about some folks that feel like they're on a crusade and have to save everyone, and guess what? Not everybody wants to be saved.
No, you're right.
Anyways, sorry.
He does the
movie?
Does the movie. And I feel bad. I can't remember what movie it is off the top of my head. I should have written this down. I want to say it's the Fahrenheit 11.9, but that's not right. Maybe it was Bowling for Con. Anyways, he does this movie.
Yep.
And it gets taken to court because the people claim that it is violating this 60, 90-day clause from the, what do they call it? The BACRA the McCain-Feingold Act.
Oh.
It's got a lot of names. I
Okay.
tried to remember that. They have this catchy little acronym pushed together.
Oh, the Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act?
Yeah, it's a BICRA?
Yeah.
BICRA? I don't know. Anyways,
Hate acronyms.
So, they take it to the courts, and they say that Michael Moore is violating this because he's releasing it. And they come back, and they rule, no, he's not. It's just a movie.
Yep. Free speech.
Free speech, okay? So then, in the 2000 election...
Yep.
Must have been Bowling for Columbine. So then we get to the 2000 election. We have this political action, Citizens United. PAC,
yes.
Okay?
Yep.
A super PAC, I believe. And they see what happened with the Michael Moore thing, and they think that movie was politically motivated. It got through, so they're going to do it. And they make this movie called Hillary. Very subtle.
It's not a promo.
And it's not. I mean, it's tearing her to pieces. It's a very smear campaign, whatever. And basically, they lose the lower courts battle, and they get told...
Correct. That is political.
It is political, and that you can't do this and whatever. So they push it, and they go take it to the Supreme Court now.
Yep.
And funny thing is, Hillary didn't even win the nomination that year, and Barack Obama goes on to win the president.
Right.
So, largely doesn't even matter. But what this does when it gets to the Supreme Court is it's the famous Citizens versus United.
Yep.
Or Citizens United versus the FEC.
C took it.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
You're good.
And this rolled back like 100 years of campaign regulations.
What did the court decide?
Yes, it was a 5-4 decision, and they basically say that nope, you can donate unlimited money. They rule that because
of the PACs,
yep. And they rule that there's no limit on the soft money spent. It's just so bad.
Yeah, it's their arguments were it was a slippery slope with regulation. Right, they were worried that they would have to regulate all kinds of different entities and individuals.
They said, "How do you regulate?" It's a slippery slope between a media company and political action.
Yep, and there's an argument about wanting to keep government small and not just have it explode with regulation. And so I think that was what they were worried about.
I like to think of the movie that I can't remember the name of. The Remember the 5th of November. The guy wore the Guy Fawkes mask. Terrible job. You're not gonna... It's the guy...
Sorry, man.
I know.
Usually we're good at this. We have to look, too. I'm like...
I know.
I'm reaching, but it's not there.
It's the movie, man.
That one movie, damn it!
V for Vendetta.
Oh.
I got there. Did you see that?
That was a very strange movie.
Okay.
Interesting, though.
But you could argue... I could see in the Supreme Court's verdict and their ruling, I could see in their minds where if they would have had to go against Citizens United, where eventually they'd be dealing with movies like that. Is that a political movie because it makes a point against big government or against
the man? Yeah,
in that
more or
case.
less.
And that's where I can see where their basis was coming from. But then they just effed everything up in allowing unlimited monies from corporations, which wasn't done before. It allowed corporations to have their money directly invest into super PACs.
Yep.
So before, let's say you're a shareholder.
Yep.
You knew your money wasn't going to go towards a campaign.
Right.
It's going towards the business.
Yep.
And
now it can.
And now yes.
And then whole troves of executives and heads of companies are telling all their management staff that we need to contribute to this super PAC because they're going to be influential to our candidate who's going to drive business for us.
Yes. So, and now, I'll turn it over to you in a second. I was going to do a couple of different between the PACs and the super PACs.
No, it's all good. We need some detail there.
So, two things they have in common. There is no coordinating with the candidates. Supposed to be.
Yep.
So, now a PAC must register with the FEC. $5,000 cap from individuals. And there's a $5,000 cap that a PAC can directly give to a candidate. So, but let's say there's a PAC and they have $8,000 or $10,000, okay? And they give it to Brent Miller for president and they have $5,000 left over. Well, now they can run it for ads, maybe for things that Brent believes in.
Yep.
And it doesn't have to mention Brent, doesn't
Yep.
have to, but it could be for the issues related to
Yeah,
a
that are
campaign.
important to me. Say I'm running for office and I'm trying to
Donald Trump
impact...
is an easier one.
Go for it.
Yeah, like build a wall.
Yep.
Like we got to build the wall. They don't have to say what candidate they're talking about.
For me, it would be immigration reform.
Ooh, nice, nice.
See?
I don't know what it would be for me.
Well, I'm just countering the wall.
Yeah.
We don't need the wall. We need immigrants, for
Yeah.
sure. Like, immigrants do a lot of things for this country. We need them. And I don't disagree with the point from the administration. We're not talking about immigration, but I don't disagree with the point that they should be, you know, there should be a wide array of folks that need asylum. There should be folks that, need a chance just to start a new country. There should be folks that are well educated and want to contribute in science and technology.
I would encourage everyone to watch John Oliver's recent show on legal immigration because they talk about like the process oh god, we're going down a slippery slope. To process the legal immigration from applicants from India, they're like 12 years behind.
Oh yeah.
And like if you're gonna make a legal way to get into this country, it has to be a legit legal way.
It's not legit at all. It's like a freaking free for all right now. Anyways, back on course.
PACs, super PACs.
Yeah.
So again, PACs, $5,000 cap from individuals, and they can only give $5,000 directly to a candidate.
Yep.
They can use that other money as soft money
because
it's not going directly to the candidate. Now,
treating the causes.
Super PACs, they cannot give candidates money directly. Period.
Right.
There's no. But there is absolutely no limits from individuals, corporations, or unions on how much they give.
Yep. It's amazing.
It's
That's where we're running into billion-dollar campaigns, and the rest of us are sitting there making normal money like, where the hell's my cut? This is crazy. You guys can spend that much just trying to elect each other?
And that's the thing. I watched this TED Talk on... did you watch that one I sent you? I sent you so many. I'm sorry.
I'm not sure if I watched the TED Talk.
Yeah, basically this guy gets up there and he talks about how much money was used to win the past congressional elections. He breaks that down to like a senator from the day they get elected has to make raise $4,000 a day.
Yeah.
A congressman has to raise $1,000 a day just to keep up with what they're going to need to get reelected.
Right.
And
based on the current system. It's not necessarily their fault. It just is what it is.
It just is what it is. There's been like we're skipping over a lot of stuff.
Oh man.
There was a millionaire clause in the McCain-Feingold Act that was trying to stop millionaires who could self-fund themselves.
Yep.
Because that's not putting the interest of Americans. That was gone. Citizens United struck that down. And because now let's talk about the other thing Citizens United did. They opened up money from corporations. Well, who's to say a corporation has only Americans on the board?
That's right.
So,
and, corporate structure in ownership can be anybody and everybody.
It's a multinational corporation, and they can give unlimited money to a super PAC.
Yeah. So, say you're oil and gas, and you don't want America to be opened up for more expansion of mining, and you're the Saudis, or another country that's got a lot of the Russians, a lot of oil on the market. I would definitely be lobbying hard and investing in campaigns that were for folks that did not want to expand drilling in America.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And at that point, I can turn it over to you.
Yeah.
Because you looked into some of the...
We need to talk about some loopholes.
The loopholes.
Oh my gosh. It is kind of ridiculous. I'm not relying on paper today. I went digital.
Nice.
But I found some really good news sources, especially NBC. They had a really good article about campaign finance laws being just full of loopholes. A lot of times it's everything from ballot measure committees, people are trying to get amendments to state constitutions across, to investments in charities and other travel reimbursement, right?
Sure.
It's amazing what different entities will do to try to sweeten the deal for their candidate, right? So they'll push their cause. So one of the interesting ones, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, the governor, right?
Arnold.
Yeah. So in the first 6 months of his 2009 campaign, he raised $6.5 million.
Wow.
Now that's not massive compared to the federal,
Right.
size elections, but he only had kind of like the feds, federal side of things, 23 contributors that contributed over $100,000. So big time players.
Wait, did he know rich people?
I'm willing to bet he did.
Fair.
Probably because he's one of them. Right? Yeah. And so that money went to what was called Schwarzenegger's California Dream Team. It was basically a general political fund, a slush fund type thing, where he was throwing money at ballot measure campaigns to pass all kinds of different tax legislation and different things, a lot of which was good for California. But think about that. With the good, there's the bad. People wielding power through this, right? And there were people on the other side of those initiatives that were not happy about what he was able to push across the finish line, just because of all this money coming from rich donors, right, supporting his cause.
Mm.
Um,
And that was all legal.
yeah, 100%. And it's crazy. Schwarzenegger actually became one of the most prolific campaign fundraisers in California history because over the totality of his 4-year span, he raised more than $125 million for these different campaign committees pushing different initiatives, and they were all donating money to his wife and him in terms of the charities they supported, not directly to them, right, but things that they cared about, making sure that those two were also feeling some of the love, right? None of it was illegal at all. So let's move on to some other folks. The Palin family. Yeah. So when they were basically when Palin was running for office or governorship of Alaska, right? There was several large oil and gas and other kinds of mineral extracting companies that were contributing to super PACs that were just pushing her like no other. And these are the folks that wanted her to open up more of Alaska to mining and surveying for minerals and other fossil fuels. So you're talking about, and I don't have money, I don't have dollars on that, but just a large amount of the funds that paid for the expenses of her inaugural balls and travel for her family came from those oil and gas mineral running family or companies. Yeah, right? So talk about influence there. You want something done? And I've heard this a lot throughout my adult life. Anytime you're wondering how something's happening, where the power comes from, follow the money. Because it will lead you to what you're looking for. Okay, another good one. In Wisconsin, several corporations, and this gets into travel, right? Which is, a lot of these politicians don't travel commercial, right? They're flying private. So several corporations spent thousands of dollars to send Republican lawmakers to a meeting for the American Legislative Executive Exchange Council in Chicago, right? And so basically, they're just supporting the travel of these folks. They're putting them on nice private jets. They're whisking them off to some council meeting. So it's just, that's a small thing. But you think about it, it's just happening constantly. And I was talking to you earlier today, or maybe the past couple of days, about Scott Pruitt, the former head of the EPA. Like, I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I'm nearly positive part of the issue that forced him out was the fact that he had to reimburse hundreds of thousands of dollars for private travel expenses that violated the regulations that govern his office. Like, he could not accept directly from companies that were going to be potentially influencing him as the EPA head.
Yeah, and he was staying. I know he was staying in rooms for too cheap. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
They weren't fair market value.
That whole thing happened here with Aaron Schock, right? He was in real estate. Aaron Schock was a former, I believe, Republican House member, federal level, and he was in the state too, I believe, before that. But basically, he, as a real estate broker, he was selling or people were buying houses for more than their market value, and he was raking in all this money, I believe, behind the scenes, knowing he was going to go for political office and become more politically influential for people in the area.
He didn't get in trouble for that, though.
He didn't.
Nope.
No.
And
that's
he got
not what was illegal.
Other federal charges.
Correct. He was convicted, but not for that.
No, it was
and so that's the legal
taking
shit.
His staff on a prep, I believe.
Well, they tripped him off because his whole office was decorated like Downton Abbey.
It looked nice. I'm not
It
gonna
did look
lie.
badass,
Yeah.
but guess what, man? People are gonna start looking at that and go, where did you get this sleek stuff from?
How much could I know? I know.
So we got to move on to one more good example I got at least. So Senator Ron Calderon of Democrat. So I'm being fair here. I'm going after Republicans and Democrats. State senator from California.
Was this the recent one?
Yep, he fairly recent. He basically had his election results challenged, and so in the span of 3 months, he raised $165,000 for legal defense, and that money was spent on $62,000 at golf resorts for fundraising events, $12,000 for credit card payments. Wonder if his wife went to Nordstrom's or something. And then another $39,000 for campaign consultants. Hey, Chris, would you like to earn $39,000 for sitting at a table with me for lunch and being my consultant?
Sounds really nice, Brent.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you could use $39,000 right now, but
I mean,
pocket change.
I'm doing it for everybody else,
right? And then again, of that money that he raised, $165,000, only $35,000 was paid directly for legal or accounting services for those campaign election results. Isn't that just shocking?
That is a shockingly small percentage.
And you're just like, where's the money going?
What an expensive day on the links. How much? 62,000?
Yeah, so I can give you the exact number again here. Yeah, $62,000 at golf resorts.
That is wild.
That's ridiculous. Like, that's paying for everybody and their brother to eat and wine and dine and go out and hit the links and you put that money up for those campaign fundraisers, and guess what? All those people that are getting wined and dined are, hey, I'm going to donate to that super PAC because this person is a person for me.
Yep.
He's taking care of me. He or she is taking care of me, right? And I was wondering this too because we were talking earlier about, where's all that money go? Say the campaign doesn't work out,
Yeah.
Where's all that cash go? It turns out that shockingly isn't so easy to just, and I mean, I may be naive and not totally well-read enough on this topic, but it felt like to me that was not as easily manipulated as other ways that this money's being used. Like, basically, they burn through the cash as much as possible because from what I read and what you'd sent me, an effective campaign is using the money to get the message out there.
Yeah.
So if you don't spend all the cash, you're not doing your job.
Yeah, especially if you lost.
Right. And so if you did lose and there's money in the bank still, there's not actually a ton of things you can do with that cash that would be like a direct influence. Even if you had a charity and you're on the board, you can't throw the cash right at that. There's definitely no personal expenses taken care of there. You can donate it to, a future campaign for yourself. Not you directly, but your campaign can use that money for future runs at office and other things. Or other, you can sponsor other campaigns, and there's any number of things. And we'll link to all these different avenues through which you can use that cash. But just point being, it's not that they rake in, $100 million and then all of a sudden it just gets poof. It's in Arnold's, bank account. When things are all said and done, if he lost, whatever's left is actually having to go to some things that, are not directly related.
Not personal gain.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah.
Turn it back over.
Top 10. We'll go with the top 10 campaign laws or rules.
Yeah.
First one, he's got to collect names. You got to know who your donors are.
Where's the money coming from?
Where's the money coming from? Businesses can't contribute to a candidate, or participate in normal PACs, but they do have super PACs.
Right.
That they can get in.
So that's where they get in the money in.
Yeah. Yes. Number 3, occupation and employee info is required for contributors of $200 or more in a year. Seems like a small amount.
Yeah, it's amazing. They want to know where you're working and where the money's coming from.
But, I mean, after talking about what we know now, I mean, we can understand why they want to know that, because they want to make sure the businesses aren't asking their employees to pay it.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't it be interesting if...
I get that one.
Yeah.
It's like, kill the super PACs and allow that one.
Right.
Like if you're gonna follow the money, then why the hell have it? It's like I have a wall, and then guess what? I'm Donald Trump, and I just want to put a hole in that wall. Just walk on through, guys.
The other one is clear expenditures. You have to have clear, what would you say, records of your expenditures.
Right. Follow paper trail.
Yep. You have to keep, number 5, you have to keep 6 years of receipts.
Right. Again, paper trail,
Yep.
audit trail.
Number 6, you can't use state or municipal employees for
Right. Folks in office.
soliciting. Yeah.
They can't solicit the money.
Yes. Especially use their office too.
Right.
Yeah.
They can't do something else though, too, right?
As far as
Like the treasury, maybe they can't be like a treasurer.
oh yeah, public employees can't be treasurer on
Okay.
political committees.
Is that a separate thing?
Yeah, Matt, that's number 7.
Okay.
So no, you're good. I want to kill that cricket. I just want it to die.
We both do, buddy.
Number 8, public. Wow, I can't read my writing. Public bids are. Oh, got it. Public buildings.
Yep.
I can't read.
They can't go after like the courthouse and.
Well, you can't campaign.
Right.
In public buildings. I'm sure there's some exceptions to that because there's town halls and stuff. But
right.
That's a party. That's not a candidate.
Directly.
Right.
Q&A kind of thing.
Number 9. File the campaign finance reports on time.
Yep.
There are some steep fines that start to occur.
Rightfully so.
I agree. And I love the number 10 rule, I guess I can't say it's a law, was call if you don't know.
Oh yeah, they can't. Yeah, for sure. And you figure these campaigns have got experts anyway, but I mean, at the end of the day, why not tap into that resource that's available at the federal level too?
Yeah, the things that are interesting to me about this are, like, let's say Brent's running and I'm running for the same office, and we're against each other. And I have I'm aligned, let's say, with a super PAC. Not supposed to know I am. But they're going to run an ad against Brent right before the election. Well, Brent's going to want to have what they call super PAC insurance.
Right.
Meaning Brent's going to want to know a millionaire.
Who are my backers?
Yep. And Brent's going to want to know that person is going to have his back.
Yep.
If someone were to place an ad like that.
So the insurance is not necessarily an official policy per se. It's
yes.
Money in the bank, right? Got to be ready.
And so the other problem with super PACs is, let's say, now we're going to change rules here. Let's say Brent is running a big healthcare industry. And Brent says, well, we run a super PAC, or we contribute a super PAC. And if you want to be considered for that super PAC, you need to be 90% in line with our goals.
Basically like a scorecard, right?
Like
your
the NRA gives.
Your voting's got to equal out to at least the majority of what I want. You're not getting my money.
Yes. So my question to you is, how do you think that doesn't influence the people running? And how do you think that's fair that there's no cap on that when there are caps on how much I, the individual, Brent, the individual, can give?
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, those limits, I've got some of them here. Let me pull them up, hopefully.
One of the things Brent was talking about earlier, PACs can't take money directly from the treasury of a corporation, whereas super PACs can. That's kind of what I don't know if we directly said that earlier, but that was one of the big differences. And that's where, again, the corporations can then have the scorecard, or like maybe, like NRA does for people, they score politicians. Well, some of the times they do that, it's to signal to politicians, hey, you're not going to get any money from us.
I can't find it, but honestly, it's not that important. The limits on individual contributions are extremely small. Like, it's like $2,800 that you can contribute as a max. There's like $5,000 to the super PAC.
Yeah, to the PAC.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so, like, we can only influence so much, and yet and it's like having two sets of rules. Like, we follow these rules, and then the super PACs over here in their own lane just funneling a ridiculous amount of cash.
And I get it. I get the idea is that super PACs are not directly tied. And that's the argument. Super PACs are not allowed to affiliate with the candidates.
Right.
And therefore, it's like saying,
But-
well, if me and Brent have 100 million friends,
Sure.
We don't.
I wish we did.
I do too. But okay, let's say me and Brent had 1,000 friends and we all believe the same thing. Why can't we pool our money and run ads? You
Yeah.
know, why can't we do that?
But if you and I are the Koch brothers that are part of a 400, I don't know how rich they are, but they're super rich.
Well, there's only one left.
Well, correct. Sorry, buddy. Hopefully you weren't the one that died.
I agree.
Same thing for me. Anyways,
Had to be one of us.
yeah, right. Yeah, it had to be one. But at the end of the day, say we're the Koch brothers and we contribute, $1 million, I don't know, $100 million total to a super PAC. Like, we're still, you know what I mean? Like, we should be allowed to contribute, but you should not be able to be the majority stake. It's like cheating the system in the sense that, and so like one of the ideas I like is like the voucher idea, where you could say, hey, everybody can contribute $100. You get a voucher for $100 of a pool of money that's, I don't know, provided by taxpayers. I don't know. Forget about the details. But every individual person and only them, hypothetically, can only contribute this money toward who they think should run for their candidate, right? So and again, that's an extreme example, it's the principle of an idea that there's a lot of expansion on, and some of the links we'll share. But I think I like that. I like the idea of you have a voice. You can be a part of the election. You can vote too, right? But every one person, and if we're all aligned, you and me and our 1,000 friends, then our $50, $100 vouchers all go to that candidate we align with. We can still organize, and build groups of people that are like-minded and throw the money there. But it's not private companies like, all the folks here in Peoria that, have money, and then all these rich people get together and all the management people are throwing money at these PACs. And
I mean, I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
I don't know what you do, though. I have to be honest. Like, after reading more about Citizens United, I am more on the fence about it. Like, the truth of the matter is I am more on the fence because I like the idea that corporations are going to turn eventually, like turn a new leaf, maybe. I'm not sure. But I mean, like, look at the times, like, there was the whole transgender thing, the bathroom bill in, like, North Carolina. Everybody, like, big businesses pulled out of that. And that was, that was big businesses doing something for the good. If eventually, I mean, there are super PACs on the left, too. So there are businesses on the left that,
I think it just takes the right issue to make that happen, though.
I agree, and I don't know what's right. Like, I don't like the idea that the government would stop me and Brent from getting all of our listeners together, all of our very, very wealthy listeners that want to help us and have a great show. All of them, we get them all together, and we try to, like, campaign for something. They could say no. That doesn't make sense. I don't understand why they should say no to that.
Yeah, I know. I think if anything, the Supreme Court with that ruling had one thing right, that basically it's a slippery slope on a lot of sides.
It's a slippery slope.
Right?
We need good elected officials. We need good congressmen. We need good senators.
That aren't worried about having to raise $4,000 a day just to get reelected.
Yes, and I don't know what the answer is here because, again, the problem with the super PAC is they're not directly affiliated. So you could say, well, let's limit how much. I don't know what you do. I think McCain was really onto something. Like, they wanted to limit the soft money. They wanted to stop them from doing last-minute ads and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess.
It feels, and then the dirty thing about it is it feels like a violation of freedom of speech. It really does.
And that's why Citizens United won.
Yeah, I know. It's a crazy thing, guys. We want to hear back from you about it, too. Because this is something that is a massive issue that doesn't have a clean and clear solution. I'd love to hear from what folks have to say about that.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why there needed to be a law necessarily to stop. I don't know. This is tough for me because I'm against Citizens United on principle, or at least I've been that way all the way. And now when I learn about it and I
you think more about it too.
The ruling, you have to think more about it because I just think that it goes both ways. And right now, if you're a leftist or liberal or progressive or whatever, and you're feeling like it's all going against you, I think the tides could change.
Oh yeah.
And then it's going to be the Republicans crying wolf.
See,
And
that's just it. It does happen. The ebbs and flow of politics. I mean, it's the whole start of it right now. I think for me was when the left got pissed off with Merrick Garland's whole Supreme Court thing getting just stonewalled by McConnell, and then McConnell became the devil to all the left, and now it's just been a proliferation of that as we've gone through the Trump administration, him stonewalling all this stuff, and it's gonna flip. Mark my words. Eventually, the Dems will win back both Congress and the White House, and they're gonna start pissing off all the people on the right because they're gonna undo things. They're gonna put judges in place. They're gonna do whatever, right? And I feel like that's where we get the polarization, the tribalism,
yeah,
that just splits everyone to sides. We got to get back to where people are more willing to compromise and talk through things and figure out how both sides can win some, right? When I was learning about how to negotiate in a class once, the biggest piece of advice I think that was beneficial was figuring out how both sides can win. Because if the loser in an agreement, if they feel like they lost but they still got talked into it, then they're going to be resentful, and you're still not gonna reap the full benefit of that. So they're gonna find some way to get you.
yeah.
So you have got to find compromise. It's key.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the right answers are. I don't know how that applies to super PACs and PACs, but it's good conversation.
Yeah,
And that's what we're mainly here for.
that's right. That's why we're here, guys, and we want you to be part of that conversation. Please comment.
It's only 73 degrees in here. That's so crazy.
I know.
The changing of the seasons is making our lives easier.
Here we are, man. October 5th. Just flying by.
So, I'm at school, and Brent's life's busy, but we're going to be back next week with another show for you.
Yep.
There's some debate about what the show is, so we don't know yet.
Yep.
But
Don't have a topic.
Figure that out by next week.
Yeah, we will.
And I hope you've enjoyed our kind of overview of the campaign finance laws.
Yeah. Follow that money, guys.
Yeah, follow the money.
And be worried. Because there's so much of it that you don't control.
We're going to do probably a little update on the whistleblower thing next week.
Yeah, I think we should. We'll touch on it as part of a topic. Maybe we'll have a split episode, have a few different things to talk about.
Yep. Another idea I want to put forward, just to kind of get your opinions. I keep getting, I don't know what the right word is. When I'm debating people on the right, I keep getting links from like Glenn Beck or Rush Limbaugh or other
commentators.
And
more than news sources. To be fair.
I would like to know more about them. I would like to do a show on Glenn Beck and Rush to understand them.
Oh, man. And just so, if anybody's listened this far into our hour-long piece of this, I haven't responded to a recent request for a review of a Glenn Beck episode, and believe me, it is coming. I've just been busy, but I promise you it will come. We do read and respond to everything that's sent to us. I promise you all that.
Yep.
But you're right. We do need to kind of, maybe we should break that down in next week or the week after. Soon. Get into some of those folks. And there's commentators on both sides, so we'll dive into, a full commentary of that.
I'm definitely interested to know how many times people have had to recant stories, or for Glenn Beck, I would like to know why he got fired from Fox. Because it's pretty bad when Fox won't have you. The other thing I do want to throw out there real quick, I'm sorry we're wrapping it up, but it just bothered me last week. I was watching Fox, and they have something called the Five.
Yep.
Okay, it's like these...
I've heard of it.
It's terrible. But anyways, I was getting a nail removed from my tire at, what is it? Goodyear. Shout out to Goodyear for doing tire repairs, patching for free. Thank you for that. But the Fox News on In Your Lobby was, I don't know, not my preferred channel, but informative, to say the least. So on the Five, they start bad-mouthing people who went to college. And they talk about, you may work in a corporation, and you may be able to get along just fine, but then there's that darn HR department who are filled with learned people who went to colleges.
What?
Yeah, I'm not kidding you. Like, they literally are demonizing people who go to school and get an education.
Yeah, that's a tough one for me.
It's ridiculous to me. It really, really bothered me. And I'm going to be honest with you. don't be mad at people because they're smarter than you. Intelligence is something that most all of us can attain.
We
It's
should share.
something you should work for. It's something you should share. It is not something you should fear. It is not something you should make fun of or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah.
And I think some of that's being self-aware. So I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but if you're not educated on a topic,
Hey,
maybe
it happens to me all the time.
assume you don't know about it.
Gotta read up,
Gotta read up.
educate yourselves.
And don't get me wrong, I've never worked in a big corporation. I'm a small business kind of guy. But Brent, do you have issues with HR in your life? Are they?
No.
Is that because you're learned too?
I guess you would classify myself as a learned individual.
This is what I don't understand.
But we should all be learned, right? Every day is an opportunity to learn something, and life is a learning journey. So at the end of the day, and that's just it. I was saying it just a few
I
seconds
think
ago.
that's your opinion, you know, and I think that's what I'm coming to realize is some people have no desire.
You know, you're correct.
To learn. People want to do as they've done
Yep.
and never be challenged
Or make
and
a
never be
decision, and
corrected.
This is where I'm at.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't think there's a whole show topic there, so I really just wanted to throw it in because it really did just bother me. I've seen tribalism pop up in a lot of places.
Yeah.
And I just thought this was a very ludicrous idea to demonize people for
learning.
going to college.
Yeah.
Like,
Fun fact,
come on.
I think it's Massachusetts state constitution, it is the requirement of the state to provide education for their citizenry. I think, and that was written by John Adams.
Hmm.
So I think it's important to note that the founding fathers and people that, you know, really should matter to people in this country.
Knocked this country together.
Yeah, right? Basically said that education is the most important thing, period.
And we've done a bad job.
We have. That could be a topic. My God, education.
Yeah. You know, again, if you've made it this far, thank you. I know this is not exciting. I hope you've enjoyed our overview of campaign finance.
Yeah.
And a look at some of the laws and how we got to where we are today.
Yeah. If it interests you, dig in more. There's tons more. We couldn't cover it all. It would be too much.
How many
boring.
pages was the FEC manual?
256.
We weren't going to read it.
Nope.
We just weren't going to do it.
So dig into whatever else interests you from that. Be sure to comment on us if you have things you agree with, disagree with, want to learn more about.
And next week we get together and talk more and say more words.
That's right. Till then, I'm Brent.
I'm Chris. Have a good day. Have a good week. Bye, Jim.